The man woke up from his sleep. He groggily found himself getting married in a temple. The bride is still a stunning princess. Immediately, he didn't think about anything else. Then, he looked forward to being taken to the bridal chamber next. However, what he got was the words, "buried together in the same coffin." Instead, Chu Aetherius then realized that it was actually a ghost marriage. Then he got up and refused to do it. "I'm living well. Why are you forcing a ghost marriage on me?" Two maids saw Chu Aetherius stand up. They were pale with fright. Then the maids abandoned him and ran away. As they ran, they kept shouting that the little young master was feigning death. Chu Aetherius fell heavily to the ground. He coughed up a few old phlegm spurts. Chu Aetherius slowly got up, supporting his old waist, feeling the pain in his body. He then realized that this was not a dream. The ghost marriage is real, just as Chu Aetherius was shocked. Suddenly a large amount of memories from the original owner's body rushed into his mind. It turns out that the original owner of this body was also named Chu Aetherius. His father was a grand general. Since his mother passed away early, he was raised by his stepmother from a young age and was very pampered. On weekdays, he enjoys bullying men and dominating women, indulging in wine and women. He is a well-known playboy. He eventually died in an accident at the age of 18. The original owner's final memory remained with his sinister stepmother and the court physician. Without waiting for Chu Aetherius to be shocked, he burst into laughter. He couldn't see any of the changes in his stepmother. The original owner, this stupid donkey, is really dumb. Chu Aetherius can only lie down helplessly in response. This body is too weak. It's probably not going to last long after crossing over here. Meanwhile, the two maids who ran away have already spread the news that Chu Aetherius faked his death. Reported to the Empress and his stepmother Murong Moonriver. Upon hearing this, Murong Moonriver immediately instructed his niece Murong Glaciel to go and investigate. And she urged Murong Glaciel, "I feel like killing someone." Soon, a foot stepped into Chu Aetherius' field of vision. Chu Aetherius recognized Murong Glaciel at a glance. However, it seems that she is up to no good. He was suddenly scared, breaking out into a cold sweat. Murong Glaciel's face darkened. His words carried a hint of cunning. Little young master sweated a lot. "Let Glaciel check your body." Before Chu Aetherius could react, Murong Glaciel grabbed his arm, claiming to check his body. However, in secret, he released a burst of inner force towards his brain. The next second, Chu Aetherius' 7 orifices were bleeding profusely in pleasure. Just as he was about to die in ecstasy, a voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Detected that the host is about to die in ecstasy. Grand Dream Cycle System has been activated. Then a ball of light that was not fully developed, completely undeveloped, appeared. The light ball absorbed the inner force in one gulp, and give away a perspective function and one lucky draw. At this point, Chu Aetherius has lost all will to live. Just activate the system for him. I might as well be dead. But the next moment, his eyes suddenly lit up. Chu Aetherius with X-ray vision. He took a close look at Murong Glaciel from top to bottom. He also saw the energy flames on Murong Glaciel's body surface. This is formed by the condensation of blood chi unique to martial artists. The stronger the vitality, the more vigorous the flames. Murong Glaciel was completely unaware that she had been thoroughly observed. She thought to herself, "Chu Aetherius is still alive. It seems I was too lenient." She then grabbed Chu Aetherius and pushed him backwards. She also placed Chu Aetherius' hand on her big épée. At this moment, Chu Aetherius only felt a little pleasure, but he couldn't understand what Murong Glaciel was up to. The next second, Chu Aetherius heard Murong Glaciel shouting loudly, "Let go of me, you stinky thug!" At this moment, Chu Aetherius finally realized that it was already too late. Everyone who heard the commotion rushed over. Murong Glaciel quickly pretended to be the victim when she saw what was happening. She shed tears, with a grievance on her face, as she complained to everyone. I wanted to check young master's body. I didn't expect young master to violate me." When the crowd heard this, they all started accusing. "I heard a long time ago that Chu Aetherius is a lecherous playboy. He flirted with other women as soon as he married the princess." The empress's face instantly darkened upon hearing this. Murong Moonriver immediately knelt down upon seeing the situation, ready to carry out the act of sacrificing one's life for the greater good. "It's all my fault for failing to educate my son properly, leading to this disaster. Please, your majesty, take away his tools of crime." Jiang Moonrift accepted without any complaint. "I didn't expect myself, as a stepmother, to be so poisonous. Now, it's truly mud in my pants. Whether it's dirt or done for, I'm done for." And the next second, the queen ordered, "Come here! Drag Chu Aetherius' tools of crime out and chop them." Chu Aetherius saw the situation was grim. He quickly sought help from the system, saying, "I want to draw a prize." The next second, the system popped up with a notification. "Congratulations to the host for drawing Deathbane Acupuncture. Reverse yin and yang, determine life and death." Chu Aetherius sees this. He almost started the banquet directly. He criticized the system, asking if you were here for just a day trip. But the next second, he found that there was still a faint chi and blood power on the princess's body. In other words, the princess still has a glimmer of life. Chu Aetherius hurriedly knelt down to the queen and begged for forgiveness, indicating that he could save the princess. Sure enough, the queen was greatly shocked upon hearing this, and quickly asked Chu Aetherius what method he had. Chu Aetherius hurriedly explained that only a few silver needles were needed, in conjunction with his unique acupuncture technique. By inserting them into the princess's key acupoint, she could be saved. The court physician quickly stepped forward to criticize, saying, "I have practiced medicine for decades and never failed. When the princess's heartbeat stopped, there is no way to bring her back to life. There is no such thing as resurrection. He is clearly talking nonsense." Chu Aetherius immediately became angry and retorted, "This is what I learned from an ancient book, the reversible life and death technique using silver needle. It's absurd for someone who only knows a little to criticize others." The old court physician wanted to retort. At this moment, the queen unleashed a compelling presence to intimidate the crowd. Then she said to Chu Aetherius, "I will give you one chance. If you can revive the princess, I will make today a truly joyful day. Otherwise, this day next year will be your death anniversary. The sword is on the string and must be released. Life and death are now in the hands of fate." Soon, everyone placed the princess in the bedroom. Chu Aetherius explained to the queen that in order to perform acupuncture on the princess, her clothing needed to be removed. The queen is a reasonable person too. However, she is still worried about her daughter. She instructed Chu Aetherius to focus on treating her. Then she left the bedroom. After seeing off the queen, he began to treat the princess. Chu Aetherius came to the bed and began to remove the clothes from the princess. But he only removed some of it. Although Chu Aetherius and she have already gotten married, it was all just an accident. I, Chu Aetherius, may not be a gentleman, but I cannot do anything despicable. Half an hour later, old court physician has been chattering by the side of the empress. Chu Aetherius is infamous for being a lecherous playboy. It has been half an hour already. Maybe he didn't even treat the princess at all. If that's the case, the princess won't rest in peace. And Chu Aetherius doesn't know anything. He dares to shamelessly claim that he can save people. This time he's doomed. The next moment, the door slowly opened. Chu Aetherius arrived at the door, looking exhausted, and said, "Queen Mother, fortunately, I have not failed in the mission. The princess has been revived." They couldn't believe what they heard. Chu Aetherius, who was clearly useless, how could he possibly revive the princess? The queen hurriedly rushed into the room. The ministers also followed one after another. The old court physician immediately took the princess's pulse as soon as he entered. After a while, there was still no pulse or heartbeat. The courtiers, seeing this, began to curse loudly. They accused him of forcibly taking a commoner's daughter, deceiving the queen, and insulting the princess's body. They demanded that the scoundrel be executed. Chu Aetherius yelled, "Shut your mouths, you bunch of incompetent physicians!" After he finished speaking, he approached the princess. He quickly reached out and pinched the silver needle on the princess's forehead. As the silver needle was pulled out by Chu Aetherius, the blood stasis inside the princess was vomited out directly. Her face also regained some color. The queen was overjoyed to see the situation, but the old court physician was panicked. Chu Aetherius really revived the princess. The queen stepped forward and picked up the princess, only to find that the princess had not awakened. Chu Aetherius quickly explained, "The toxins in the princess's body have not been completely removed. I can only use a silver needle to slowly force out the toxins. In this way, she should awaken in 3 days." After saying that, Chu Aetherius pointed at the quack doctor and cursed loudly. "The princess is just unconscious due to poisoning. Yet you claim she is dead. People should retire when they get old. You are of no use, like a privy without being used." At this moment, the empress spoke. "It is a joyful occasion that the princess has been resurrected. Other matters will not be pursued further. Chu Aetherius has already exchanged vows with the princess, so his status as consort remains unchanged. However, the consummation of their marriage will be delayed for 3 years." Upon hearing this, Chu Aetherius finally let go of his suspended heart. But the wicked stepmother started using underhanded tricks again. She claimed that Chu Aetherius had been sickly since childhood. In order to avoid causing trouble for the princess's mansion, she sent Glacial to take care of Chu Aetherius's daily life. At this moment, Chu Aetherius was truly speechless. Sending Glacial was clearly meant to monitor me. She speaks so nicely. Now that I am the princess's husband, how could the empress agree to you? Chu Aetherius thought that she was now an imperial consort. The empress would never agree, allowing the wicked stepmother to have her way. Unexpectedly, the next second the empress said 2 words. Chu Aetherius was almost thunderstruck on the spot. I woke up and found myself getting married to the princess. What I did not expect was that this turned out to be a ghost marriage. For the happiness of my later years. Chu Aetherius uses death-bane acupuncture. He defied the heavens and successfully extended his wife's life. The wicked stepmother saw Chu Aetherius survive a great disaster. So she arranged for Glacial to be placed by Chu Aetherius' side. Mother-in-law, however, turned a blind eye to this. Fortunately, Chu Aetherius had a backup plan. Otherwise, in this deceitful world, he wouldn't have survived the next day. When everyone has left the princess's mansion, Chu Aetherius deliberately looked dejected, successfully catching the attention of the queen. Then he took advantage of the situation to inform the queen that the princess was still in danger. As long as he continued treating her with acupuncture, there was still hope for the princess. But as a commoner, I am weak and may not have much time left. The queen, eager to save her daughter, did not notice anything unusual. So she immediately ordered Glacial to find the best court physician to treat Chu Aetherius. Shortly, the court physician arrived. After a brief examination, the court physician delicately expressed that Lord Aetherius Chu has deficiencies in both qi and blood, liver and kidney failure. Fear his life is not far from its end. Glacial concealed her inner joy and asked, "Is it true that there is no medicine that can cure him?" The court physician helplessly shook his head, expressing his own powerlessness. The empress did not believe a word of it. "Surely, there must be another way," she said. The court physician paused for a moment before replying, "If Master of the Xian Mastery can extend his life, then perhaps he can live a little longer." The empress became more agitated upon hearing this. "Master of the Xian Mastery is not easy to find," she exclaimed. "It just so happens that Chu Aetherius is the one who knows how to save Xioner." Shortly after, she led the 2 of them out of the bedroom. After the queen left, Chu Aetherius immediately summoned the system to check his body. The next second, the system sent a prompt. The host's body is extremely weak. Estimated remaining lifespan, 7 days and 12 hours. Upon hearing this, Chu Aetherius immediately burst into tears, made a scene, and threatened to hang himself. I don't want to die yet. System Dad, please save me quickly. The system, upon learning the son's plea for help, immediately presented 4 options. Looking at the options provided by the system, he chose to cut off his own genitals. Recharge 100 billion to unbind the system. You're forcing me to choose option D with your damn options. Subsequently, Chu Aetherius' consciousness arrived in the dream. Immediately, the system sent a notification. Detected that the host is too rubbish. A Xian-Qi seed has been opened for the host, and the Xian-Qi is increasing slowly. Chu Aetherius suddenly realized. As long as he sleeps, he can enhance his strength. Then he asked the system in confusion, "What is Xian-Qi seed?" The system replied, "Those who possess Xian-Qi seed are even more powerful than martial arts practitioners in Qi cultivation and Xian refinement." Xian cultivation levels range from low to high, divided into 5 categories, from mortal to Grand Master of Xian. Each stage reached can increase one's lifespan. Upon reaching Grand Master of Xian, one can break through the shackles of life. Chu Aetherius reacted, almost laughing to death. I didn't expect to get stronger even lying down. My invincible finger can wait. And at this moment, Murong Glacial secretly arrived at Chu Aetherius' room. As soon as Murong Glacial approached, the system issued a warning. Malicious person approaching. Please cease sleeping to prevent becoming senile. Chu Aetherius suddenly stood up and shouted, Has your mother never taught you any manners? Disturbing people's sleep will bring down divine punishment. I curse you to become a landing strip. Unexpectedly, he got too close and accidentally bumped into Big Apay. Please believe me, I really didn't mean to. Murong Glacial took a few steps back. Chu Aetherius wiped his nosebleed, indicating that he needed to rest. I need to rest too, so please go out first. That won't do. Madam instructed me to take care of you. I must ensure your safety 24 hours a day. You are talking nonsense. In plain terms, you are just monitoring me. Women only slowed down my sword-drawing speed. I need to push her away. Chu Aetherius immediately changed his tone. He said, Go to the general's mansion now. Bring my 2 maids, Autumn Jade and Winter Jade, to take care of me together. Murong Glacial replied indifferently, Tell them. Chu Aetherius was almost infuriated. They are my precious ones, who warm my bed. How could they be sold? You should know that these twins have been with me for 5 years. They are truly loyal and affectionate. Chu Aetherius immediately wanted Murong Glacial to hurry up and buy back his beloved bed warmer maid. Once it's sold, there's no way to buy it back. Moreover, this is the fate of servants like them. Having Glacial to take care of you, aren't you satisfied? Chu Aetherius gave you a chance, but you're useless. You like to monitor me, huh? Chu Aetherius stood up and put his hand on Murong Glacial's épée. If my bed warmer darling doesn't return, then you can warm my bed instead. He then pushed Murong Glacial onto the bed. Glacial, your stepmother sent you to me. Therefore you belong to me now. We will have to rely on each other in the future. Murong Glacial blushed with embarrassment, wishing she could kill him on the spot. Then you do it. As he spoke, he slapped her on the butt. Murong Glacial had never suffered such humiliation. She gathered vital chi in her hand and struck at Chu Aetherius with one palm. However, Chu Aetherius remained calm, standing there and said, Come at me. If you're not afraid of death, then try to attack me. A trace of rationality remaining in Murong Glacial told her that there was no need to get angry with someone who was on the brink of death. Chu Aetherius ignored the situation and rewarded him with a big slap. What level are you to fight with me? Don't you have any sense of self-awareness? Murong Glacial was so angry that she gritted her teeth, but was helpless. So she left dejectedly. Chu Aetherius still manages to joke around. Don't forget to come back and warm my bed tonight. I have to say that this feels really nice. So he immediately burrowed into the covers to cultivate. As long as I reach the Xian mastery stage. By then, I will definitely have you completely under control. She is known as the world's beloved celestial beauty. But now she is just my tool for venting. Only because my stepmother is determined to get rid of me. She even sent her own niece, Glacial, to me as a maid. But this is just a stepmother's way of keeping an eye on me. I am thinking of finding an excuse to get Glacial out of the way. So I let her bring my two warm bed treasures. Autumn Jade and Winter Jade came over to serve me together. However, Glacial calmly said that they had already been sold to human traffickers. I was almost infuriated when I heard that. So I hurriedly asked Glacial to buy them back. But Glacial coldly laughed and said they had already been sold. There's no way to buy them back. This is the fate of people today. What a pity. I gave you a chance, but you're useless. If you don't buy them back, then you will warm my bed instead. Glacial is angry to the point of gnashing her teeth, yet also helpless. So she immediately returned home and reported the situation to her wicked stepmother. When she heard that Chu Aetherius wanted the maid to warm the bed, the stepmother gave a contemptuous look. This unfilial child is still thinking about those filthy things even on the verge of death. You don't need to pay attention to him. But he insists on forcing me to warm his bed. What should I do? Stepmother's eyes turned icy. This means he has already assaulted you. Glacial quickly waved her hands to indicate that it was not the case. Later, she started painting a rosy picture for Glacial. Just endure for a few days. If he is still alive after 7 days, I will let you personally take care of him. Little did they know that at this moment, Chu Aetherius has already condensed the Xian Qi seed and reached the Xian mastery stage. He not only increased his lifespan by 1 year, but also gained a certain self-defense capability. He only needs to take advantage of Glacial's lack of preparedness, and use Xian Qi to disturb her brain. He can then make her fall into an illusion to manipulate her at will. Unfortunately, Glacial's effectiveness as a level 6 martial artist will be greatly reduced. It looks like it's time to prioritize cultivating. However, Chu Aetherius found that he could no longer condense Xian Qi. At this time, the system issued a prompt. It is necessary to first clear all acupoints and meridians throughout the body in order to condense Xian Qi. Half an hour later, Chu Aetherius stopped cultivating as the progress of clearing the meridians was too slow. It would take at least 2 to 3 years. It would be impossible to completely clear all the meridians in the body. It seems that in order to quickly deal with Glacial, Chu Aetherius must find a helper to cooperate. At this time, Glacial returned with a bundle in hand. Chu Aetherius immediately rummaged through the bundle and found only clothes, no silver. Glacial unabashedly said, "You are almost dead. What do you need money for?" Chu Aetherius naturally did not believe what Glacial said. So he activated the perspective function. Sure enough, there was a piece of jade hidden on Glacial's chest. Then Chu Aetherius reached out and grabbed her épée, regardless of Glacial's shock. He had already taken out the jade. How dare you have the audacity to secretly hoard the master's belongings? Glacial's face was full of disbelief. How did Chu Aetherius know? The wicked stepmother heard that Chu Aetherius wanted money. So she asked Glacial to give a piece of jade to Chu Aetherius. Next, she painted a rosy picture to Glacial, saying that after Chu Aetherius died, she would arrange for Glacial to be with her son, Chu's son Heaven. Glacial was overjoyed upon hearing this, and decided to keep the jade as a gift for her dream lover in the future. Chu Aetherius unexpectedly discovered it. However, he was afraid of pushing her too hard as she might turn against him. So, he decided to let her go this time. But he must reclaim Autumn Jade and Winter Jade as soon as possible. Later, Chu Aetherius changed his clothes and arrived at the cliff. Everyone saw Chu Aetherius approaching and quickly stepped aside. Murong Glacial followed behind with a look of disdain on her face. Just married the princess and already arrived in such a lively place. Aren't you afraid that the Empress will order your execution? Well, I won't live long anyway. Might as well enjoy myself while I can. How about you let me enjoy myself tonight too? Just then, a voice called a halt to the two of them. A sleazy man said, I am Li Big Mouth Young Master Chu. May I ask what brings you here? Can I offer you some guidance? Chu Aetherius immediately inquired with the man. I need information on those two maids who were by my side before. Do you know where they were sold to? The man pointed in a direction and said, It's good timing that you showed up. They are currently being auctioned at the Bright Swallow Pavilion. Hurry, or you might miss it. Chu Aetherius immediately paid and asked the other person to take him there. Upon arriving at Bright Swallow Pavilion, Chu Aetherius saw Autumn Jade and Winter Jade being auctioned off. The two of them were leaning on each other unsteadily. The host was introducing the situation on the side. Once it was known that they were Chu Aetherius' maidservants, some people immediately lost interest. Who didn't know that they had served Chu Aetherius for 5 years already? I'm afraid that they have long been ruined by that lecher. How dare they auction off such goods? The host immediately explained upon hearing this. You kid, you need to broaden your horizons. Everyone knows that Chu Aetherius is a weakling. Both of them are still virgins to this day. Chu Aetherius almost got angry as soon as he heard it. Damn it, how dare you say you can't do it? The price quickly reached 4,000 taels. Chu Aetherius looks anxious and frustrated, while Murong Glacial looks very pleased. That piece of jade is worth at most 3,500 taels. Let's see how you can acquire those two girls. The kind and lovely twin sisters were actually sold for a high price of 100,000 taels. It turns out they served their master for 5 years and are still virgins. Not only are they exceptionally beautiful, but they are also highly skilled. They are proficient in playing musical instruments, chess, calligraphy, and painting. They were originally the maidservants in Chu Aetherius' warm bed, but they were sold to merchants by their wicked stepmother. Chu Aetherius immediately came to Bright Swallow Pavilion upon learning about it. But the price rose to 4,000 taels at one point. Chu Aetherius sold a jade pendant for only 3,500 taels. Didn't even have enough qualification to bid. And many of them are sons of high-ranking officials. The situation is a bit tricky. But there is a way. Just as Chu Aetherius was pondering, a woman bid up to 4,500 taels. The crowd turned to look back one after another. This person is the owner of the largest brothel in the capital, Flower Rain Pavilion, Madame Shanguan Swallow. If the two sisters' flowers were bought by Shanguan Swallow and given some training, their value would definitely multiply several times. At this time, a voice resounded throughout the entire auction house. Today, I, Chu Aetherius, am here. No one can take them away. Upon hearing these words, the two sisters were overjoyed. The young master has come to save us. The host squinted, sneering. Does young Master Chu want to suppress us with his identity as the imperial consort? There are rules here. If you don't have money, you can also exchange goods for it. Chu Aetherius glanced at Murong Glacial and said, Okay then. Can I mortgage Murong Glacial here? Murong Glacial couldn't believe it and grabbed Chu Aetherius' hand, saying, What are you thinking? How could those two servants compare to me? Chu Aetherius shook off Murong Glacial's hand and angrily shouted, Nobody can take away what belongs to me. Anyone who tries to stop me today will be my enemy. If you provoke me, think about the consequences. Murong Glacial felt as if she had eaten shit at this moment. She didn't expect that in the end, she had implicated herself. The audience below was also discussing heatedly. Chu Aetherius must really have a problem with his brain. He actually abandoned Murong Glacial, the proud daughter of the heavens, for the sake of two servants. We can't afford to provoke such a lunatic. At this moment, Shanguan Swallow fell into contemplation. It is said that Chu Aetherius resurrected on the spot after the dark marriage with the princess. I didn't expect it to be true. He is now an imperial consort, and it's best not to offend him. So Shanguan Swallow immediately spoke up. Since young Master Chu wants these 2 maids, then I will give them to him. Hearing this, Chu Aetherius' mouth revealed a smile. It seems that his plan has succeeded. Other buyers also backed down when they saw this. This scene had long been expected by Chu Aetherius. As long as one person compromises, others will follow suit. After all, no one wants to stand out. The next step is how to raise money. Just then, an arrogant young man stepped forward. You are afraid of him, but I am not. I will contribute 5,000 taels. I happen to need 2 maids to warm my bed. This person is Li Xuanqing, the son of the assistant minister of the Ministry of Finance. Just like Chu Aetherius, he is a well-known playboy. Because he is not reckless enough, he has always been overshadowed by Chu Aetherius. He is the perennial second in the circle. Chu Aetherius saw this kid coming, and it was like seeing a fat sheep. Li Xuanqing directly spoke ruthlessly. Today, I must defeat you. Chu Aetherius replied indifferently. Then let's make a bet. If you win, you will be recognized as the top playboy in the capital. In reality, he had already figured out how to fleece him thoroughly. Sure enough, Li Xuanqing is very righteous. Do you think I would be interested? Let's hear it. How do you want to bet? I, Chu Aetherius, have wasted more than 10 years without gaining any expertise. The only exceptional skill I have honed is being able to accurately guess the measurements of any woman with just one look. When these words were spoken, Autumn Jade and Winter Jade both blushed with embarrassment. Uttering such tiger-like words in public, you truly live up to your reputation as a young master. Li Xuanqing couldn't help but burst into laughter. What am I doing? Such childish behavior, I learned it when I was 3 years old. Then he confidently said, If you win, all the money on me will be yours. But if you lose and meet me afterwards, you must behave meekly. At this point, Shanguan Swallow saw that the 2 men were in such high spirits, so he signaled his men to bring a few girls to liven up the atmosphere for the 2 of them. Soon, 4 girls came up. They stood neatly in a row. The moment I saw the girls, my true colors were immediately revealed. Greedily staring at the girl in red cheongsam, I accurately listed out her measurements one by one. After hearing this, the girl in red glanced sideways, indicating that I was spot on. On the other side, Li Xuanqing did the same. He accurately revealed the measurements of the girl in blue attire. And then we bumped our heads together, gazing fiercely at each other, and revealing the measurements of 2 other girls. Next, I pointed to the girl in green. She is not 96, but 94. He also couldn't help but tell me it was 94. The girl in white was obviously smaller. How could the girl in green be the same? The audience on the field became even more excited when they saw this. They kept expressing their opinions, mocking me one after another, saying that I was ultimately a waste. How could I not see such an obvious difference? I ignored the crowd and instead put my arm around the person in green. You're wearing 2-centimeter chest pads, right? Take them out quickly, I said. The girl who was exposed blushed and asked nervously. Then I held the chest pads and kept waving them in front of Li Xuanqing, indicating for him to quickly hand over the money he promised me. Li Xuanqing understood my intention and reluctantly took out all the money from his arms. All 10,000 taels are here. I smiled as I took his silver notes and replied to him. You do speak and act as promised, truly living up to your reputation as the top dandy in the capital. With Li Xuanqing's financial support, the auction hosted by shopkeeper Han can continue. I bid 6,000 taels. Shopkeeper was delighted to hear this and asked if anyone else present would like to raise the bid. Upon hearing the auctioneer's inquiry, the crowd had no intention of raising the bid. They allowed the auctioneer to repeatedly confirm the bid of 6,000 taels. Li Xuanqing was glaring at me ferociously. He secretly vowed to make me pay the price next time. Murong Glacial chuckled and let me continue to stir up trouble. Even if I managed to buy back Autumn Jade and Winter Jade, there wouldn't be many good days left. Even Shanguan Swallow has shown some interest in me. The shopkeeper saw that there were no bids in the auction. He raised the big hammer and struck the tabletop hard. He announced that the sisters had been successfully bid by me. After doing all this, the shopkeeper coquettishly handed me the deed of sale for the sisters. I returned his smile and handed him 6 silver notes. And then my sisters joyfully surrounded me, feeling the warmth in their embrace. I happily told them, "From now on, no one can take you away from me." Just as I was ready to take my sisters home for a good night's sleep, a sense of crisis surged in my heart. In a hurry, I dodged away. The attacker turned out to be Li Xuanqing, shouting that the green-clothed woman and I were scheming to cheat him of his money. Without waiting for him to launch another attack at me, the sisters quickly stood in front of me and delivered a fatal blow to him. Li Xuanqing, who was beaten into a pig's head, wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth. He shouted to his little brother behind him, asking him to retrieve the territory they had lost. The sisters' faces darkened. How dare they lay a hand on our young master? With the 2 sisters working together, in a matter of moments, they swiftly defeated all the miscellaneous fish that came charging towards them. I looked on in confusion, as the servants were continuously being knocked away. And then I immediately recalled. They were not just maidservants who accompanied me. They were also my bodyguards. Even among the talented young people, their skills are second only to Glacial. Before the 2 of them could finish off the miscellaneous soldier sent by Li Xuanqing, I played with a mocking tone to see if he couldn't handle it. Not only did he retreat from attacking me, but he also wanted his subordinates to die in vain. Li Xuanqing pointed his sword at me. He said coldly, "This is probably the last time you'll be facing off with me." I replied, "No matter what, I will defeat you once." "Draw your sword, Chu Aetherius." I disdainfully shook my head after hearing that. "Oh, you're getting cocky. I won't agree. You can just hold your breath." Seeing my refusal, Li Xuanqing waved his hand and took out 5,000 taels as a deposit. "If you win, all this money is yours." Faced with the temptation of money, I directly told him enthusiastically, "I didn't like it, but now I love it. Rule, tell him to come quickly. My saber is already impatient." The sisters noticed the situation and advised me not to agree to this match. Although Li Xuanqing is not a martial artist, he has practiced martial arts. What if the young master gets injured? Glacial, on the side, revealed a barely noticeable smirk. She thought to herself, "It seems like I don't need to intervene. You're digging your own grave. Later, when Li Xuanqing kills you with a sword, you can't blame anyone else." In order to make this performance more magnificent, I waved my finger and told Li Xuanqing that I can defeat him without using a sword. In my heart, I secretly thought that I could take this opportunity to test the strength of advancing to Xian mastery through the comic. After hearing my words, the disciples in the audience speculated one after another. They guessed how many swords I could endure and stay alive. Perhaps the first sword would directly split me in half. Li Xuanqing, however, did not hesitate at all. He directly thrust his sword towards me. But when he saw that I stood still without moving, he also felt a little nervous. I kept evading under his fierce sword chi. Seeing this, Li Xuanqing arrogantly mocked me for dodging like a rat. I was just a useless waste who only knew how to run. Then he looked at me with a triumphant expression and said, "If you beg for mercy now and admit that I have beaten you, I will let you go." While he was talking, he swung his sword down at me. But I showed no intention of dodging and took the attack head-on. When Li Xuanqing felt the warm blood on his face, his confused eyes suddenly cleared up. What exactly just happened? Afterwards, he looked at my broken body with fear in his eyes. "Why didn't you dodge?" I knew he couldn't beat me. I just wanted a plea for mercy. How could it be? I just wanted to defeat Chu Aetherius once. I have never lost to anyone. At this moment, I lifted the illusion I had cast on him. I looked at him with a smile on my face. Li Xuanqing, unable to distinguish between reality and illusion, couldn't stop sweating. Terrifying thoughts exploded in his mind. Could it be that everything he had just experienced was merely an illusion? Just as Li Xuancheng was about to continue acting defiantly, I stared at his eyes, with red eyes, and slowly reached out my hand towards his head. At the next moment, Li Xuancheng knelt down on the ground, shouting, "Don't kill me! Don't kill me! I surrender!" I looked coldly at the defeated Li Xuancheng and contemplated the power of my illusions. I formed an initial understanding. The stubborn young disciples watched in confusion as the events unfolded in the arena. In their eyes, they only saw the two of us standing there foolishly for a while. Li Xuancheng suddenly shouted out, admitting defeat. At the same time, the look in my eyes became fearful. How could Chu Aetherius be so mysterious? Did he use some kind of sorcery to transform Li Xuancheng into this appearance? The people had made up their minds even more firmly to stay away from me in the future. I looked at the servant supporting Li Xuancheng and said, "Remember to have your young master send the 5,000 taels he lost to me to the princess's mansion." Murong Glacial, who was puzzled, even though she sensed something was wrong, did not realize what had just happened in that moment. Just then, the crowded crowd was suddenly pushed aside by a man in armor. "Lord Consort, we finally found you." Later, the man came up to me and bowed respectfully. "The Queen Consort asked you to return to the princess's mansion to continue treating the princess." I nodded, showing no reluctance, and told him I would be there shortly. Later, I held Winter Jade and Autumn Jade, the two beauties, in my arms. Then I laughed and called out to them to follow me back to the mansion. I saved the princess's life, but did not receive the treatment I deserved. I was even chased and beaten by the princess carrying a 12-ton iron hammer. Ever since I've demonstrated my power and easily defeated young Master Li Xuanguan, the way people look at me has changed. What has happened to Chu Aetherius? Why does it feel completely different from before? The small fry behind Xuanguan started to whisper among themselves. Has anyone figured out what just happened? Damn it, I even supported Li Xuancheng. I didn't expect him to be the useless one. Before long, I arrived at the princess's mansion and found the empress. I bowed to her as her child. The empress looked somewhat surprised and said, "It seems you have found a way to cure yourself." I was surprised that the empress could see through my physical condition at a glance. However, I still maintained a respectful demeanor and said to her, "I have found a solution. I believe I will recover in a few days." The empress did not dwell too much on this issue. She also advised me to treat the princess promptly. "I have already prepared everything you need." Then she quietly left the room. After the queen left, I came to the side of the princess. It is said that the princess is very young. This purple light cluster seems to be her Xianqi seed. She is actually extremely weak in body. It is truly enviable to spontaneously condense a Xianqi thread talent without the need to cultivate. However, her Xianqi seed is located in her brain. In the future, it will give birth to a Xianqi snake. If she is not careful when breaking through the meridian, she might inadvertently become self-obsessed. The risks are quite significant. At this point, I aim the needle at her forehead. Since I am alive because of you, whether we can become a real couple in the future or not, it is also considered a kind of fate. In that case, let me use the Xianqi threads to help you strike through the Ren and Du meridians. Then I will use Qi to control the Xianqi on her forehead, and keep moving along her 12 meridians, finally settling at her dantian. After doing all this, I gathered my vital Qi and finally helped her open up the Ren and Du meridians. Then the strand of Xianqi in the princess's body returned to his mind. However, the toxins in her body have also been completely cleared. It's time for her to wake up. I had just finished speaking when the princess reacted. Then the princess slowly opened her bright eyes. I immediately approached when I saw the princess wake up. I gently asked her if she had any discomfort. To leave a good first impression on the princess, I activated the beauty filter. I softly told her my name is Chu Aetherius. Whether I can win the princess's heart by turning over remains to be seen. After hearing my words, the princess muttered my name under her breath. And she replayed in her mind countless times the scene of me being cruelly killed. Her expression was full of disdain as she pointed at me and said, "You are just a worthless, shameless, treacherous scoundrel." Chu Aetherius felt his heart sink to the bottom of the valley upon hearing the princess say such words. How disliked was the original host really? Next, the princess felt a chilling sensation under her armpits. Then, she crossed her arms and screamed. At the same time, she swung her fists like a level 6 martial artist towards me. "Roll, you roll, you roll." I kept blocking the princess's attacks while comforting her. "Princess, calm down." The queen, who heard the commotion, excitedly broke into the room. "Rushin, you're awake. That's great." The next moment, the princess rushed into the queen's arms and burst into tears. The queen, feeling sorry, asked, "Princess, why are you so foolish? Why did you try to commit suicide by poisoning yourself?" The princess recalled the scene and denied that she was attempting suicide. She explained that she got poisoned by the snacks brought by Swan Goose, who was with her at the time. Upon hearing the truth, a terrible killing intent erupted from the queen. The queen mother is aware. Don't worry, the queen mother will definitely give you an explanation. I will definitely investigate and find out the truth of the matter. Then, the princess angrily pointed at me, her savior. What exactly is going on with Chu Aetherius? Why did the queen mother let him treat me like this, even taking off my clothes? Later, the queen slowly explained the causes and consequences of the incident. Then the princess stared at me with a cold gaze. Immediately, she pulled out an 80-meter wolf's tooth club from somewhere, raised it high, and with a cold voice coming out word by word from between her teeth, said, "I'm going to kill you." Seeing this, I shouted, "Mother, save me!" The queen could only shake her head helplessly. The princess, crying, asked her mother for help, saying, "He ripped my clothes. Why aren't you helping me? I'd rather die." The queen, seeing this, instructed me to go out and wait, as she had something to say to the princess. Following the order, I left the house without looking back. The queen said lightly when she saw me leave, "In fact, she also looks down on that waste. It's just that with him around, those who pursue you and force you to marry will shut up." The princess still said somewhat reluctantly, "But he just treated me like that." The queen patted her shoulder and told her, "That's also for your recovery. It's better than watching you die helplessly." The princess, seeing the situation, stopped arguing. She quietly spoke, indicating that no matter what, she would never be with such scum. "I really hate him and wish him dead." The queen, upon hearing this, immediately embraced the princess in her arms. A mother always knows. I came outside and gazed quietly into the distance. "Chu Aetherius, why is it that you are always disliked wherever you go?" Just then, a servant girl ran towards the princess's mansion shouting, "Something is not right." Arrived at the house, the servant girl stood still and said, "The North Abyss Prince has arrived. He also said he wants to come in and visit the princess." The heartless queen not only did not appreciate my kindness, she even threw me out as cannon fodder, putting me in a life-threatening situation. It turns out that the Prince of the North Abyss Kingdom suddenly arrived, indicating that he wanted to visit the princess, who knew the queen directly threw the blame on me. "Aetherius, I am not in a position to meet him now. As you are now the rightful imperial consort, you should go out and see him." I agreed and walked towards the palace. I know the queen wants to use the North Abyss Prince to get rid of my position as imperial consort. If I cannot handle this matter properly, I'm afraid I will lose my last chance to escape death. With my current strength, once I leave the protection of the imperial family, I will soon perish in the wilderness. In any case, I must overcome this hurdle. And then I followed the noisy sound to the outside of the mansion. Just as I came out, I saw two groups of people confront each other with drawn swords and bows. "Get out of the way, and let my prince in to see the princess," shouted one side. The soldiers in charge of guarding did not back down. "Old man, you've got some nerve. This is the princess's mansion. No entry without an invitation," they replied firmly. "Whose unruly dog is this, barking wildly in front of the princess's mansion?" The old man instantly erupted in anger, wielding a scimitar and slashing towards me. Idiot! How dare this young man insult me as well? The guards danced their long spears to block the attack. Bold old man! How dare you act so brazenly in front of our imperial consort? The old man didn't get angry but smiled instead. Who am I? It turns out to be that city's #1 weakling, Chu Aetherius, who looks like he's on the verge of fainting. This useless person is totally unworthy of your princess in West Chin. This remark also sparked whispers among the servants behind them. You said our princess is so exceptional and stunning. How could she choose such a playboy? Lower your voice. He's now an imperial consort. Do you want to lose your head? And such discussions were interrupted by the arrival of the North Abyss Prince. Young man, I heard that your father is the famous General Chu Hongyan, the commander of the Xuanwu Legion. I kindly give you some advice. Leave here while you can. Be careful not to disgrace the reputation of the Xuanwu Legion. Or do you think that with your weak body, you can stop me? Get out immediately. I am going to the mansion to visit the princess. I have no intention of backing down. Answered. The princess is my wife, so naturally, I will take care of her. I don't think it's your turn, prince, to visit. But the next moment, Hubuhue erupted with a fierce killing intent. Chu Aetherius, take a look at yourself. You really think highly of yourself. Are you even worthy? I didn't expect this guy to look like a woman. He does have quite a presence. Turns out he is also a master of body tempering 6th layer like Murong Glacial. Next, a huge monster's head popped up. It kept growling at me like a wild beast. Seeing this, I couldn't help but feel a little weaker in my presence. How can this be stopped? Hubuhue smirked as he caressed the fierce beast's fur. I've always despised the ugly fellows with sharp teeth and foul mouths like Footwolf. I may not be able to stop him once his temper flares up. If he accidentally bites you to death, I can just execute him. And you will simply be seen as an unjustly dead ghost. Murong Glacial suddenly stood up for me. How could the Imperial Consort endure such humiliation? Please teach those people from North Abyss a lesson. I'm speechless. I really wish that Green TB*TCH would just die already. Playing the strategy of borrowing a knife to kill someone is so obvious. Hubuhue saw me remain silent. He directly led the old man behind him towards the mansion. The guards did not let them in because of me. They allowed them to enter. Stop! Unauthorized entry into the princess's mansion is not allowed.